Hey guys, it looks like I'm live. There's a bit of a delay. I am going to go into my settings and make sure that I've got my audio. Yep, we're good on that. I think my AirPods are on. So I'll give you guys a chance to join me and I will have to find comments. So there we go. I am just a few minutes early. I was running behind and oh, I got a thumbs up. Yay. I was running a little bit behind. And so I was kind of nervous about getting online in time. And I thought, well, they're not going to start without me. So, good morning, Cindy. I can see comments up on my screen. And oh, I got a heart. Thank you so much for the reactions. Now, as we go along, you guys are welcome to put questions in the chat. I often, when we do the cooking community live sessions, I don't call them classes, I call them live sessions. But hey, oh, I see several folks joining us. When we do them, we use Zoom, and we're getting ready to switch to a different platform. But with Zoom, folks can unmute and talk to me, but they can also use the chat. So feel free to ask questions in the chat. It's not Zoom like the cooking community, but I think this will work really well. I see that when Davis found us and Kristen Kelly, and good. So I'm going to try and look at the camera, but I will be checking comments from time to time. Oh, thank you, Elizabeth. That's sweet. She said you look great. Hey, Heather, good morning. Heather, you should be up here cooking with me. I did something dumb, which I am like, I do every session, I do at least one dumb thing. And I have done it today. I'm going to grab another little thing. I started working ahead. So I screwed up something, but I can fix it. And I'll show you guys what I screwed up. Okay, good morning. Yay! Laura made it. Laura's not out on the boat today. Oh, I have 13 hearts. Thank you, guys. Okay. Um, oh, there's another North Carolinian. So it let me know in the comments. I always try to ask who's cooking with me. And did you find the recipe? The recipe is in the cooking community, but it's also on my free website, Cooking Keto with Christy. So if you subscribe to my free website, you will get an email whenever I post anything. So that got posted this morning. So the full recipe is on cookingketowithchristy.com. And I'll put this video there after we finish. And we've got people from Minnesota and from Kentucky and all over. This is amazing. So anyway, I've got my recipe printed out and I'm going to show you just kind of a few little, the way that I do this. It's an easy recipe, but there are some things to do to make it really even more tasty. And when I developed this recipe, I was thinking about butter pecan ice cream. My mother loves butter pecan ice cream. That was always her favorite. And okay, people are cooking with me. Yay. Oh, Boobies Creek is right up the road. Yeah, in West Virginia, Las Vegas. But anyway, so butter pecan is my mom's favorite, absolute favorite ice cream. And so I thought, if I can make this into a pie, like a no-bake pie, this could be really tasty. So let's just kind of jump in. And let me tell you, when I've made this, I've used a 7-inch push pan. Now, you can use a springform pan. What I love about a push pan is the bottom pops right out. Can you see? Just pushes right out. And what I usually do, I use it for my Instant Pot cheesecake. So 7 inch is not really standard unless you're making cheesecakes in your Instant Pot. And then it is kind of standard too. So Rachel says that's her favorite ice cream flavor too. Yeah, Donna's up in the mountains. Donna, when I get up to the mountains, you're going to have to cook with me. I'm going to put some parchment paper in the bottom just because when this thing is done, I want to be able to take it off of this. And that's for a couple reasons. Now, you don't have to take this off, but I want to take it off before it's served because, like, let's say that I take this to my mother-in-law's for Thanksgiving or take it to a friend's house. I don't have to worry about getting this back, right, and getting it separated. So I put that on there just to make it easy to separate. The other thing, before we do the crust, the other thing that I like to do is I take these strips because the whole idea of having these high sides is it's going to give us a really high pie, right? Lots of volume. So I'm just going to take this and stick it around, but I want it to stick. So I'm going to dip my fingers in a little bit of melted butter, not much, go around the edges of the pan, And this butter will be like glue. Glue is my theme for today. I posted this morning in the group about how cheese is like the glue that holds things together. And some days you need more glue than others. People are still telling me where they're from, New Orleans and Maryland. Jackie says she's just watching. She has the recipe. So, yeah, if you haven't got the recipe, the full recipe is on my website. We're just going to make this together. And I'm going to show you a couple tips to make it even more better. And I'm just putting this in here. I want to get it smooth, and you'll do that when we put the crust in too. So I put a little butter around the edges so that that will stay in place. A little more butter because it's overlapped, as you can probably see. Butter there. My butter dried. Okay, so I put some pecans, and I was being very careful with the, this isn't perfect, but you'll see, we'll get it. I was being really careful with the carb count, but I wanted to put some pecans into the crust just so that we would have that, more butter pecan flavor. I also bake the crust briefly to kind of let it set, and in a way, it kind of toasts the pecans. If you don't have a 7-inch push pan, you can use a muffin tin. Now, this was not my brilliant idea. This is one of our moderators, Cherie, and she used a 12-cup muffin tin. Now, when you do that, I've got it now. When you do it, you your crust won't be quite as thick, but that's certainly okay. Losing my AirPod. But anyway, so you can do it. Use parchment paper liners. This is my favorite. This is the it's called If You Care. There's different brands, but and I'm about out of them. But they look like this, and nothing will stick to them. They're amazeballs. They're great. So I always keep like extra, extra. In fact, I have them in the regular size, and I have them in the mini size. Look at this cutie pie guy. I have them in the little mini muffin. So what I have already done, and I will show you this, but if you don't have a push pan, I took, where is it? I took a a six thing, and did the crust, already baked it. And I did mini ones because I thought this would be fantastic for if you're doing a dessert charcuterie board, and we're doing charcuterie board workshop on Sunday in the cooking community. I cannot wait for that. But these would be perfect for that, or just a little sweet something on the dessert bar. And this pie is so rich that honestly, something this size would absolutely perfect for me. So yeah, somebody else is saying they love these liners too. So anyway, I did 12 in my mini muffin tin and 6 in this with a crust I made earlier so that I could show you guys that. So, and we're going to come back to that. I'll show you how to fill those before we finish up. Okay, let's make our crust, and we're going to do it we're going to use the push pan. So let me do that. Okay, so in my food processor, so easy. I've got the blade in there. I'm going to add the pecans, and this is 1.5 ounces. It's about a half cup of pecans. I did weigh these. I had my scale out, so I'm just dumping them in. They're raw pecans from my in-laws tree. They have not been chopped or anything. I'm going to put in a 1/3 cup of almond flour, and I've measured this out. It's right here. Just dumping it in. Oat fiber. Now, I love oat fiber because of the texture and because it is insoluble fiber. It is generally considered grain-free, and it's also gluten-free, but unless it's certified, if you're celiac, obviously there can be cross-contamination, so do watch that. If you don't want to use oat fiber, I respect that. Just use 2 more tablespoons of almond flour for the bulk. I use the oat fiber because I feel like it gives it more of a flour-like mouthfeel and taste. So that's why I love it. If you don't have it, put it in there. Now, there are different brands. This is the brand I use, Life Source Oat Fiber. I love this. It also comes in a gray container. I don't use other brands, have been just too strong. So I don't use or recommend those, just FYI. Okay, but again, use almond flour. No, nobody will know. 3 tablespoons of butter. And I did melt this ahead of time. I'm looking for my spatula so I want to get all the butter. Yeah, 3 tablespoons of butter. You should have seen me trying to carry this little saucer of butter over here. I'm like, what was I thinking? Why did I put it in there? I was convinced it was going to end up all over the floor. It didn't, thank goodness. And I'll try to check comments too. I'm not doing a great job. Good morning, Mary's here. Joanne, Tina, Nita. Aw, Nita's so sweet. Okay, what else am I putting in here? Um, my half teaspoon of vanilla extract and my brown sugar substitute and salt. So let me grab my vanilla and let me talk a little bit about this is a half teaspoon measure. Let me talk a little bit about the brown sugar substitute. I was doing a YouTube video one time and I said brown sugar, and I got a really hateful comment like, you don't use brown sugar on keto. But I've been using this so long that and by the way, I do plan to put this video on YouTube as well if you're one of my YouTube people. But anyway, this is 3 tablespoons. I like to use the Sucrin Gold. It's a brown sugar substitute. It is erythritol based. And so I like to use this. My husband adores it with peanut butter. Don't try it. He's addicted. But anyway, Locanto Gold is also good. I've not used the Swerve brown sugar sub. I know some people really adore it. But anyway, so yeah, if you want to try that, just whatever brown sugar sub, it just gives more a rich flavor to that, to that crust. So I'm putting this, I think I'm putting this on here. I'm nervous, y'all. Okay, this is like different for me. Oh, salt. Y'all about let me forget the salt. I need to put salt. It's here. Now, I'm using salted butter and I'm adding salt. If you're part of my cooking community, you know that I adore salt. I really love salt. And that's not a bad thing. But this, you want the salty of the butter pecans with the sweet. So don't be shy about the salt. And you can taste it. I left the thing over there. So I'm going to scrape down the sides a little bit because the butter was all on one side. And you're just going to get it to kind of a crumb. And it's probably about, the butter is like glue, like I said before, and it's going to make it all stick together for you. All right, one more time and done. Okay. And let me dump it in here. I'm just going to dump it in here. Can you guys see? Yeah. Let me adjust my screen. Oh, thank you. Lila just linked to the recipe. The recipe is in the cooking community, but it's also on my free site. And I can't make this larger to see. Sorry. Thank you, Lila, for linking that. I appreciate it. Somebody else says that they really, oh, the brown sugar. Susan says she likes the brown sugar Swerve because the texture is more like real brown sugar. I'm just going to have to get some and try it. I like the Locanto Golden too. Somebody else said they really like that. I like it. The Sucrin is, I don't know. That's the first one I really used, and it's hard to beat. And David's a fan too. So there you go. All right, dumping it in here, and you see the paper's not perfect, and that's okay. We're going to get it. So when we put the crust in here, we're going to press it down with our fingers, and I'm going to put a little crust up the side. If you see the photograph, and I've got several photographs of it, I've only been using primarily one on social media, but if you see it, you can see that the crust kind of comes up a little bit, almost like a cheesecake. Now my oven is preheated to 325, and see how I'm just pressing against that crust, and it's all good. There will be some larger pieces of pecan, and that's okay because it's going to give it texture. Okay, so I want a solid layer on the bottom of the crust, and I'm just pushing out as I go, and then I'm smushing it up against the side, which is a proper cooking term. Ask anybody, smush. Okay, and the key here, and the reason I like to use my fingers, is I can gauge if it's thicker in some spots than the other. Now I have it lined with parchment paper. Be sure, somebody said their parchment paper stuck. Be sure that your parchment paper is flat so that it doesn't get embedded in your crust. That's no bueno, not good, no good. Okay, and I'm sorry to disappoint you. I know some of you are all about the instant gratification, but you're going to have to wait and let this sit. Let it set up. Let it set. Let it sit for I don't know. I say at least 6 hours, like overnight. And by the way, these freeze really, really well. So these are going into, the one we're making now is going into my freezer for Thanksgiving. Okay, this is what it looks like. Can you see all around there? So, and the, yeah, you can see it. Okay. Somebody says they don't want a food processor. Will blender do? I would probably put it in a blender and just pulse it. I wouldn't do a lot. You could chop, however you chop nuts, you could chop nuts and then you could mix it by hand. That's not a big deal. Let me put this in the oven. I'm setting my timer for 10 minutes. Now, when I did the mini muffin tin, I baked that crust for exactly 6 minutes. Let me get my timer going. And then for the muffin tin, the full size muffin tin, I baked that for 8 minutes. So because that's a smaller volume, washing my hands real quick, because that's smaller, it doesn't need to bake quite as long. Okay. So yeah, if you don't have a food processor, not a huge deal. Some of you say you're looking for the link to the recipe. It's in the comments. Lila posted it, and it's real easy. It's cookingketowithkristie.com. Make sure you spell Kristie Kristie for that. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is, and I did this ahead of time. I did this ahead of time. This is what I screwed up. Hang on a second. You're going to brown your pecans. Oh, and I put them all in here. Okay, you're going to put them in a pan with some butter, and you're going to brown them. Let me grab that. I had to wash it really quick, but there's a key to this. There's something you want to remember as you're browning the pecans. So, okay, here are my pecans right here. And I'm going to put my butter in here. And when I'm doing the butter, I think it's 2 tablespoons. It is. It's 2 tablespoons of salted butter. Again, remember salt. And some of these are whole and some of these are in pieces. You can chop them up before you toast them. I like to toast them after, I like to chop them after they're toasted. So this is just a mix. And this is going into the pie. This is what gives it the butter flavor. Here's what I want you to remember. And I didn't bring out, I've got a little cooktop. I did not bring that out because I already have so much stuff in front of me. But basically, I want to put my butter in there, get it hot, and you want to keep it on fairly low. But you want it to go, this is, think of the color of untoasted, and that's that. You want it on low heat. And what you're doing, in addition to browning the pecans, you're also browning the butter, and that's where the flavor comes in. Now, don't get impatient and walk away from it. It will burn. Don't turn it up too high. It will burn. Ask me how I know. Stay with it. I use my wooden spoon and just stir it and stir it and stir it. So when you put it in there, like I said, it'll probably take 15 minutes or so, and you just want it to be brown. It'll become super, super fragrant. When you set it aside to let it cool, when you add it to the batter later, after it's completely cool, we're going to make the filling in just a minute, you want to get a spatula and scrape all of the brown butter out of the pecans. So butter, low heat, medium low heat, keep stirring it, salted butter, got your pecans in there. When they're nice and toasted and fragrant and your house smells amazing, put a little bit of salt, sprinkle salt, set it aside and let it cool. Then you can toss it back into, you can chop it however you want. If you have a food processor, you can put it back in there and chop it up to put in the filling. And you'll see that in just a second. If you guys have any questions about that, I'm sorry I didn't show you, but I have like so much on this table. So there's a question, somebody else posted the link. Is it okay to use roasted pecans? Susan, you could use roasted pecans. She said she doesn't have any raw pecans. If you use roasted pecans, obviously skip that part, but do brown some butter. Put that 2 tablespoons of butter in a skillet and use your spatula or your wooden spoon and brown that butter. And again, there's a fine line between brown butter and burned butter. So you want it to be a rich, dark brown, but you don't want it to be black. Okay. But yeah, so if you've bought roasted pecans, make sure you brown the butter. Somebody asked for the crust, liquid stevia or allulose. use whatever you want. And I did not put that extra sweetener in there, did I? You might even be able to skip it, like I just did, obviously. But you can use, I didn't bring it in here. You can use Truvia, liquid allulose. It really doesn't matter. It's just, you don't want to put too much sweetener in the crust because it'll be gritty or grainy when you eat it. And so that liquid sweetener kind of offsets any aftertaste from the granulated and keeps it from being, gritty that you don't want. Yeah. Okay. Yes, somebody said, "Can I add salt to unsalted butter?" I am one of those people like, you have to bake with unsalted butter. And here I am going, use salted. And technically, we're not really baking. But yeah, you can use, if you use unsalted, make sure you add the salted. Oh, that's so sweet. Brenda says her husband loves butter pecans, and she's going to surprise him with this when he returns from deer camp on Monday. Um, Okay. And Sylvia said that she often skips the liquid. Taste it to see. This only had a third cup. So just, don't worry about following the recipe. Just make the stuff up. So anyway, that was joking. That is a joke. Okay, let's start making the filling. And sweetness is a matter of personal preference, matter of taste. And some sweeteners are sweeter than others. If you're using something like Truvia is a lot sweeter than that I found than sucrin or other sweeteners. I usually use the sucrin plus or the sucrin monk fruit, which I think they discontinued, sadly enough. But anyway. Um, but if you're baking, be careful with that because if you reduce the sweetener too much, you lose some volume and you lose the consistency or the texture. So if we were making a cake or cookies or something, it is a little more dangerous to reduce the sweetener by a lot than if you're just making something like this because we're not really, we bake the crust, but we're not really baking it. A few more minutes on our crust. So we're going to use 16 ounces of cream cheese. There's 8 ounce. And here's 8 ounce. I was looking through, my dad had caught in one of my grandmother's pumpkin pie recipe. And I was looking through these old recipe books. And it was so interesting to me because it would say use 2 8-ounce packages of cream cheese. And I'm like, why do they say use 2 8-ounce packages? Why don't they just say use 16 ounces of cream cheese? I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. Anyway, there's probably a good reason. Maybe it helps people figure out what to buy or how much to buy at the store. I don't know. Maybe it makes somebody's life easier. Like unlike this doggone cream cheese, which is like not making my life easy to try to get open. Okay, so there's 8 ounces. And y'all tell me if you do this too. I am the worst. I like to take my spatula and I have to scrape all of it off. Like, what is wrong with me? So if there's any bit on there, it's one of my little OCD things. And my other OCD thing, if you're in my cooking community, I don't like to put a dirty spatula on my table. So I usually save that wrapper and put it on there so that dirty spatula isn't touching my table. Not that the table doesn't get dirty. Okay, 16 ounces of cream cheese. That's been out for a little while. I'm going to use a 1/4 cup of the brown sugar substitute. Now, I do think sometimes with the brown sugar substitutes, sometimes there's one that puts a little bit of molasses in it, which I don't love. And then there's another, using a 1/4 cup. There's another one so I don't use a lot of it. I use just enough to kind of give it some flavor. And then I use the powdered sweetener to balance it. Sorry, guys, I lost my measurer. Okay, and then I'm going to use a 1/2 cup of powdered sweetener. So that is my 1/4 cup. And we're going to take the hand mixer to this. You can use a stand mixer if that's what you prefer. And then I'm going to use my powdered sweetener if I can grab this thing. Oops. And I want a 1/2 cup of this. Oh, there we go. I'm going to use a 1/4 cup twice because a 1/4 cup twice is a 1/2, right? Paula's with us. Paula says she does that too. Thank you. People are saying that they're a scraper. Thank you for making me feel better. There's probably somebody out there who's like, oh yeah, I just throw it away. Don't do that. Don't do that. Okay. And that was a little short. Okay. So there we go. 1/2 cup of the sweetener. And, David does like things a little more sweet, I think. That's why he loves me. No, he does like things a little more sweet than some people. So I do tend to bake with him in mind. All right, it's going to get loud. I'll look at comments while I mix this up. Well, it's only going to get loud when I plug it in. Okay, try it again. This is going to look super dry, and it is. And I do know some people are cooking with me, so let me know if you need me to slow down because I didn't stop and brown those pecans. Sorry about that. Oops, this guy came out. There's something about this hand mixer. It's new, and I don't love it. I have a terrible, terrible time. Yep, I nearly like cut my hands off. Let me unplug it. That's how it was unplugged. There's like a left one and a right one. And of course I got it backwards. So let me try that again. There we go. Okay. But I have to unplug it because I can't eject those without it starting. And that's kind of scary. See, I told you, I always do something goofy when we do our live sessions. And so today is no different. I'm also have been awake since 1:30 this morning, and I think that's not helping. I talked to David and I asked him the same question twice in a row, and he's like, "Are you okay?" Okay. Now I'm going to grab the oven because our crust is ready. So if you're behind, catch up with me. We're going to add the sour cream and the cream in just a second. Let me grab this. We don't want our crust to burn. Turn my oven off. You could also make your crust ahead of time if you're trying to balance and juggle everything with the holiday. So this is our crust. It puffs up just a little tiny bit. Okay. Um, Thank you, Janice. Janice was so sweet. She said, I love how real you are, like forgetting to plug things in. And you should just come on over then. That's me being goofy. But thank you for making me feel better about it. I really do appreciate that. Somebody said, what brand of white sweetener are you using? Sorry about that. It's sucrin icing. Well, you can tell I just use it because that little thing is flopping. But it is sucrin icing. Sucrin, they used to be called sucrin mealis. It's their powdered sweetener. If you can't find powdered sweetener to buy, you can take granulated sweetener, put it in a blender, and powder it yourself. Again, that's just one of my absolute favorites. And so that's what I use. If you're going to powder it, powder the granulated sweetener, then measure it into whatever you're making, because the measurements I've been giving you for the powdered sweetener is after it's powdered, and there is a difference in volume. Okay, that comes in a minute. Let's get our sour cream, which I already measured, and it's been sitting out for a little bit. Okay, people are good. Lila is awesome. Lila and Kristen Kelly keep posting the link to the actual recipe for folks. So this is the sugar-free, no-bake butter pecan pie, butter pecan cream pie. That's what we're calling it. All right, the cream is in there. And now let's put the cream. This is 8 ounces or 1 cup of cream, heavy cream. Okay. All right. And I didn't say it, but you also want to make sure you're scraping things down. And I'm not using maple extract. We like it better without the maple extract. So if you want to admit that, one lady said she made it with the maple and made it without, and she really liked it better with the maple extract. I don't know. I'm a little bit of a purist when it comes to pies and desserts. This is a half teaspoon. I am putting in 2 teaspoons. If you guys who are watching me, like she did that 4 times, I got a half teaspoon measure. So 4 of these is 2 teaspoons. But anyway, we like it. I'm a little bit of a purist. I love tasting that browned butter and the pecans in the filling. But the maple extract does give it a little bit of a depth. Just don't use too much. And it depends too, I think, on the maple extract that you use. Um, so Laura said, uh-oh, this happens like all the time when we're doing live sessions, and you guys will ask the best questions. So real quick, the recipe is on my website, my free website, Cooking Keto with Christy. .com. So Cooking Keto with Christy, Kristie. It's linked several times in the comments if you'll scroll through the comments. Somebody just said, I took the ingredients list and only about 1 8-ounce cream cheese. I have maybe 2/3 of another. Is this going to ruin the filling? So it does say 16 ounces. So you do need two. It won't ruin it, but you won't have the same volume. In other words, you'll have, let's see, you've got 2/3 of another. You're just not going to have as much filling with it. Um, can you use just pecan flour for the crust? Mary, you probably could. If pecan flour has a lot more fat than almond flour and it has less protein, so I would probably reduce the amount of butter in the crust if I'm using pecan flour. I don't love I don't love pure pecan flavor. I love pecans, but it just seems really strong when I've tried to use it in baked goods. So keep that in mind. All right, let me whip this up. Told you I do goofy things. Somebody asked how much sour cream. Remember, the written recipe is in the cooking community, homemade.health, and it's on my free website, Cooking Keto with Christy. But I put in 1/3 cup of sour cream. But please don't try to write down behind me because I will say and do stupid things. Okay. And remember, I'm just stopping and I'm scraping down the sides because you don't want any chunks of cream cheese. You want that, and that's why we blended it first. You want everything to really be smooth and creamy. The only thing that should be crunchy in here or clumpy are the pecans, which we're getting ready to add. And nobody has said anything to me. I say pecans. My husband from Eastern North Carolina says pecans or pecans. Anyway, so I don't know what you guys say, but I say pecan, pecan. Okay, so 2 8-ounce packages of cream cheese for 16 ounces. The sweetener, the brown sugar substitute, the powdered sweetener, and then we whip that together. We put in 8 ounces of heavy cream, a third cup of cream cheese. And it already, if you tasted it now, it already has some of the flavor of the brown sugar sweetener. So it's really rich, I think, just from that. Okay, we're going to switch gears and the magic of working ahead of time. I have, ta-da, I have some I made earlier today with the pecans. So these are my toasted pecans, and you can see how dark they are. These are not roasted, right? And these are roasted. So you can see these are a little darker, and they have all that butter in them. So again, when you're putting those pecans in butter, you're not just browning and toasting your pecans, you're browning the butter and it smells so good. Just at this stage, it smells amazing. Okay, and there was another question. So I'm going to just mix this up and see how easy this is and see how much volume there is. So when I put it in the 7-inch push pan, it's really going to fill that up really nice and beautifully. Um, Thank you, Sunny Ray. Sunny Ray has now linked I promise you, the link to the recipe is in the comments. So if you scroll through the comments, you'll see them. Um, Somebody said, thank you for pronouncing it correctly. Oh, my thing is coming down. Paula said, never once she remembered to put a dish towel under her bowl before she uses her hand mix. Paula, I am laughing because I think that's the first time I've ever remembered to put a towel under my mixer. So I'm with you. That's usually me, and I'm chasing it across the table. Um, Yay. Mary says that she's figured out how to watch me on the TV. Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay, big Christy, I can imagine. Um, okay. Yes, go to cookingketowithchristy.com for the free recipe. If you're in my cooking community, go to homemade.health. And okay, all right. So that's where the recipe is now. Let's talk about this next piece. So I can put it in my yeah, it's still hot. So I don't want to put it in here because it's still hot. Remember, this has to cool, so it's perfectly fine to make this a day or two ahead. This is hot actually now, so I'm not going to put this cold in here. I'm going to put it in what I baked earlier today, which are my mini muffin tins and my full-size muffin tin. So you can do 12 full-size muffin tins, or you can do, I'm guessing, 24 of the minis. Now, my temptation, the very practical, let's get this done, would be take this spatula and plop it. But we're going to try to get fancy, and I'm probably going to screw this up. But I got my Ziploc bag, and we're going to pipe it in the little ones. So, y'all, somebody say a little prayer out there, because this is Grace's job. Grace usually does this for me. So, put it in here. And by the way, my plan, if I can keep my husband out of them, my plan is to freeze these little guys. And by the way, taste it. If it's not sweet enough for you, do add a little extra sweetener. If y'all weren't watching me, I sure would have lit my hand right then. But alas, I have some people watching, so I can't do that. That'll be good. Okay. Thank you again. More people are posting the recipe link. I appreciate you guys helping each other. Okay. Some people are saying, they say pecan. Aw, you're welcome, Vicki. Vicki said, thank you for sharing this recipe. All right, let's clip this off. And I'm making it kind of big because those pecans have got to push through there, right? All right, here we go. Yeah. And I will refrigerate these just like with the pie. I'll put some more roasted pecans on top, right? And I'll refrigerate them. And then they should pop right out of these little parchment paper tins. So this is Christy's guesstimate. I'm putting about, I don't know, 2 tablespoons of filling in there. And that's not very pretty. That pecan popped out on me, but you can do it prettier. You can do it prettier than Christy. I'm sure of it. But I think that just would look really festive on your table. So I'm grateful to Cherie for trying this. She said I didn't have a push pan, and so she tried the muffin tin and gave me that idea, and I'm grateful that she did. Okay, a few more. See how easy this is? So simple. I do have a little plastic there we want to get rid of. That's why it's not pretty. And if you have, like I said, a piping bag, you can make it so much prettier. But that pecan is getting stuck. Come on, little fella, get out of there. Okay. Sorry, you guys are looking at the bottom of my, or the top of my head. All right, there we go. All right, go straighten him out. Oh. And this guy got a little shortchanged. Anybody else get shortchanged? Okay, that's it. And I did lick my fingers that time. Okay, here I can either pipe it in, or these are bigger. I'm just going to get rid of this filling. So I can just plop it in. And actually, I think I've got plenty of filling. So I'm going to put a little more in these guys to make them full. Again, I'll put these in the fridge, let them sit. I can also freeze them for the holidays. I think these will freeze really, really beautifully. And then before they're served, I will pull the parchment paper away from them. That's it. And imagine if you're getting, so this recipe, if you look at the nutritional information on it, it is, I think, for 8 servings. I don't know. We're making a raw apple cake in the cooking community at 1:30 today, so my brain is also on that recipe. But anyway, I think so. If you're doing it, if you're making so many more, the carbs are going to be lower because you're having a smaller portion. But yeah, I was prepping for 2 recipes, and I think that's where I had to really rely on the recipe I had. Let me do this. You could probably get out your cookie scoop and just piling it in there. Let me fix this guy a little bit. Okay, here we go. My mom tried these for me, and I took her a slice, and her complaint was that I only brought her 1 slice. She loved it, and because she loves butter pecan, I really made it thinking about her. Her birthday was Tuesday, so I made it thinking about her when I made it originally a couple weeks ago, or a month ago, whenever I made it. And my um, everybody who's tried it really does love it. I think there were 10 people maybe who've tried them now, and it was a 10 out of 10. Now, I made another pie about the same time as this one, and I'm actually partial to it, even though I do love this one. Look, guys, see, I'm really heaping this in here. My goodness. Okay. Laura, you may be okay with the filling because you're using the muffin tin. So you may be okay with the reduced amount of cream cheese. That's it. That's all there is to it. So these will go in the fridge, and I may have to make more crust to get rid of this. I'm going to fill it in a little bit. I think I just didn't put enough in those guys. So I'll go back over it. So what do you think? Who's going to make it? Boy, he got a lot of filling. Who is going to try this and let me know? Please post pictures, tag me. If you're on Instagram or Facebook, you can tag me and let me know if you've made it, what your family or friends thought, if you made it with the push pan or the muffin tin. Okay, and I'm going to go back to these guys, and I'm not going to see. I'm not going to get fancy with it this time. I'm just going to put it in there so I can use this filling up because I think there's probably not enough filling. So I'll plop it in there. Um, Somebody says they can't wait to make it for Thanksgiving. Oh, thank you guys. Can you talk about the cream? Yes, Leslie, I used heavy cream. I tend to buy heavy cream, but heavy whipping cream should be fine. There's a little less fat in the heavy whipping cream than in heavy cream. I can't remember now off the top of my head. I want to say it's like a minimum of 33, 34% milk fat in heavy cream, and it's slightly less, like maybe 32% or something, in heavy whipping cream. Heavy whipping cream is meant to be whipped, and sometimes it'll have more gum or stabilizers in it. Not always. It's hard to find any of it without some kind of gums or stabilizers. Yeah, I didn't put enough in those. So I'm right in my wrong. But anyway, yeah, that was the difference in the cream. And then the sour cream, I generally use, it's so fascinating to me with dairy. I tend to use the Harris Teeter store brand because it has better macros in it. It actually has fewer carbs in the Harris Teeter brand sour cream than some of the more popular national brands. I'll keep working on that. I want to check the comments so we can wrap up. Um, Thank you. Somebody else is saying they say, oh no, she says pecan. Oh, she's with David. Um, it's pecan. Thank you. And I could, yeah, Sheila, I said that. I could use an ice cream scoop. Um, st- my sister-in-law is on, and she said, Christy, the kids and I will be there in a few hours. Oh, come on up. I would love to see the babies. I haven't seen those babies in forever. I talked to my brother. They're practically grown. So come up. Please come up. I'll make all the pies if you'll come up. Um, Facebook will only allow Barbara to see 4 comments. That's annoying. Um, so yeah, it's if you go to my website, if you can't get the link in the comment, go to my website, cookingketowithkristie.com, Kristie. It's the first recipe, so it's on that main page when you land. Um, Jana said, if you put the bag in a coffee cup and hold it over, it's going to be easier to fill. See, I told you that's usually Grace's job. Um, thank you, Sunny Ray's answering some questions. Lena said that Walmart has disposable pastry bags with a decorative tip. Okay, thank you. Um, so yeah, Jamie says, or Janice says heavy cream and heavy whipping cream are basically the same thing. Technically, they're not because of the milk fat, and that is regulated by the, I guess, FDA. Um, Susie, it's go to cookingketo with Christy.com. Cooking, Cooking, keto, K-E-O, with W-I-T-H, Christy, Kristie, and you'll see it. Laura says it's working out. Um, People are telling me how I should have done it. Stephanie says she's going to make it with her mom. It is so, so easy. Um, it is. I think you guys are liking kind of the little mini ones, and I need to finish filling this in. I like these little mini ones too, to be honest. I think they're going to be really, really cute. Not that this isn't, beautiful, impressive dessert, but honestly, I think those are like big pieces, and I love the idea of something little like this. So yeah, I'll be freezing these, and I'll let you know how that goes. And I'll be making more crust because I've got so much more filling there. Um, Yay. Somebody says, Donna says that she's totally licking her fingers. Now, it's hard for me not to lick mine, right? Um, I'll definitely make this. I think I'll use some up in 10 for portion control, but she's going to order some of the 7-inch push pans. If you're in the cooking community, I have a lemon cheesecake recipe that you make in the Instant Pot. It is the best cheesecake I think I've ever made in my life. I mean, I'm stepping away because of my hair. And now I have ice cake. Now I have filling in my hair. But that Instant Pot cheesecake is the best. And that's why I have the 7-inch push pan. Actually, I have two of them. Um, it does. Heidi says it's regional. Um, she's not talking about pecans. Actually, it's not regional. Let me wash my hands because I'm getting this filling on my mouth. I'm getting everywhere. Look it up. It actually is regulated. Um, the terms. It's not a huge difference in the milk fat, but I promise I'm not making that up. And it's not regional. It is part of the food regulation. Um, no, so Janice, a push pan, a push pan is not the same as a springform pan. You could use a 7-inch springform pan. I was showing it at the beginning. The push pan actually has a bottom, if you can see that, that pushes up. A springform pan releases on the side, but certainly you can use that. There's a link, when you go to the recipe, there's a link to the push pan that I use. Yay! But you can use either. Laura says, did you roast the pecans whole or already chopped up? I've done both. These were kind of the whole, so I roasted them whole and then I put them in my food processor to chop them. You can chop them, however you prefer. You can chop them before you roast them. The problem is if you chop them very fine, it is much easier to burn them. And so either it's not a wrong way to do it, you just have to keep a little closer eyes on them if they're in small pieces. Yay. The brand of the parchment paper muffins. So this one is called, it cracks me up. It's called If You Care, which is the strangest name, but it's called If You Care baking cups. So and then this one is Paper Chef, the green. This is Mini Muffin, and they make a full size, but this is a Mini Muffin brand, and this is the If You Care. This is the big one, but I believe both brands make the full size muffin and the mini muffin, I think, but don't hold me to that. Um, oh no, Lori says she says, my darn hubby, sounds like me, won't eat nuts, more for me. Yay. Hi, Scarlett, how are you? I'm looking through. Rachel says, I like Central Market's house brand of heavy cream. Yeah, there was a local creamery that I was getting cream at for a while, and then it got hard to get, and I kind of forgot about it. But yeah, if you can't get heavy whipping cream will work just fine. So, Okay, guys, thank you so much. I was getting hearts. I appreciate that. I can see those and I can see the comments. I appreciate you all joining me. It is, wow, okay, we finished just about an hour. The Cooking Community Fix raw apple cake. I cannot wait to make that with you guys. That's at 1:30. So I've got an hour and a half to get all this cleaned up and switch over to Zoom. The link is in the current month. So if you go in the cooking, it's there. And if you want to join the cooking community, join us. A 3-month subscription is $67. If you've been in the community and you want to come back, email Christy@homemade.health and I will send you a link for a discount. Um, so, what else? Oh, and Sunday, please don't forget me on Sunday. We are having the most fun. We're going to make fall charcuterie boards. I'm going to show you several different ways to slice cheeses so that they're just visually interesting and pretty. We're going to talk about how to fold. We're not just going to make roses. We're going to talk about how to fold all the different meats. So that'll be a lot of fun. 4 o'clock Eastern time on Sunday. So anyway, I'm sweating. All right, guys, I don't see any other. Oh, there are more comments. Oh, yay. Somebody says definitely going to make this. Oh, Paula asked the mini crust. I baked these guys at 6 minutes, this guy at 8 minutes, and the big one, the big push pan, this one got baked at 10 minutes. So 6, 8, 10. Oh, thank you, Peggy. And this is exactly what we do. We have live cooking sessions once a week in the cooking community, and this is exactly what we do. It's just a different platform. Um, that's Debbie made a great point. Debbie said that she likes making the minis because then she can save some. She doesn't have to take those all to like the family Thanksgiving. She can put some back for her. I like the way you think. Rachel says she's going to make it. Oh, she's going back to Virginia and she's going to make this. Yay! I hope they love it. I hope all of your family enjoys it. Oh, that's a great question, Sheila. Sheila said, what are you going to do with this?" Um, so I will take these, I'll put them on a sheet pan and put them in my freezer, or not freezer, I'm sorry, in my fridge and let them harden. And then before I put them in the freezer, I can do the same thing. I can let them kind of freeze up for just 45 minutes to an hour, and then they'll be fine to put in a Ziploc bag flat. You can also put them, if you have like a hard-sided freezer-safe container, you can also put them in that to protect them a little bit more. It depends a lot on your freezer space, but that's a really great question. Gina, I'll see you at 1:30. I've got to switch to make cakes. There is not, Cindy. Cindy said, is there a reference to the macros if you use the mini muffin pan? No, I think I have it as 8 servings. You'll have to correct me. And so you would have to multiply everything by 8 and then divide it by 12 to get those macros. Yes, Laura, that's what I was just talking about. Yes, these can be frozen, the little ones or the big ones or the whole thing. My plan is to freeze this whole thing for family Thanksgiving, and I'll try to freeze maybe some of these if my husband doesn't get hold of them. Aw, thank you, Heather. That's so sweet. Heather said, thankful for you. I'm thankful for Heather. Heather's been such a sweet friend. She and her dad helped us a lot. The sliced up wood for us. Paul, I'll see you at 1:30. I hope to see a bunch of you at 1:30. Marie asked, can I use monk fruit? So look at, it depends. Look at your packaging. If it's pure monk fruit, it won't give you very much volume. If it's a monk fruit and erythritol mix, and most are a mix of erythritol and monk fruit, then that would be fine. That would be absolutely fine. Powder it for the filling so that you don't risk it being gritty. Sunny Ray just said the same thing that I said. Take the regular macros, multiply it by 8, and then divide that by 12 or 24. Thank you, guys. They are like a cheesecake after they're chilled, but it doesn't have, so to me, a cheesecake has that really tangy kind of cream cheese flavor. And I think the butter and the salt, it's super, super rich. See you at 1:30, Elizabeth. And what brand? Almond flour? I put that away because I had so much out. I tend to use Blue Diamond. Blue Diamond is what they sell at Sam's Club, and so that's what I tend to use. Um, Sheila says there are holes in them and they're lumpy. I'm not sure what has holes. I'm not following you. I don't know what they, I don't know what they, I don't know what's lumpy. I'm sorry. I'm not following that comment. Yeah, she's, I think, worried about them being lunky because what you also want to do, I didn't do this, but after you make them, you want to sprinkle some of the nuts on top, just like in the photograph. You want to sprinkle some on. Now, I would do that right before serving because they do get softer over time. So I do it right before serving. But maybe that's what she's talking about, that this is kind of lumpy. You cannot stack them. You could put them in like a rectangular container that had a top to protect them. You could do that. Oh, Alifa says the recipe says 10 servings, so it's not much off, is it? Okay, thank you. I told you I was working with a cake and other recipes too. Blue Diamond, Elizabeth says that Blue Diamond is at Food Lion. I get the like 5 pound bags because I go through it so much. Okay, guys, I'm still checking comments and thank you. Thank you guys for joining me. This was fun. And like I said, I do this about once a week. We're doing 2 this week because the holidays coming up in the cooking community. We're doing raw apple cake at 1:30. That was my grandmother's recipe. And I am thrilled to show you guys how to make a raw apple cake that is moist and reminds me of my grandmother's cake. So we're making raw apple cake at 1:30 today. And then we're doing the charcuterie board workshop, and I can't wait to show you all the things on that on Sunday. And then next Thursday, I think somebody can tell me if I'm wrong. I think next Thursday we're making cornbread and tamale pie, and that tamale pie is so good. So yeah, I love the cupcake idea. I do too, Karen. I wish it was my idea. I'm not smart enough. But yeah, that I like this idea too. I'm really excited for these. I'm going to put these in the fridge. And like I said, I probably would pull the parchment paper off before serving, but I don't, either way, well, I'll know in just a bit. So, all right, guys, thank y'all for joining me. I am going to jump off so I can clear this up, put all this away, and um, and get ready to make raw apple cake. Thank you.